listening to the Big T Talks podcast.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Big T here. Big T Talks podcast. Little Thursday fire for you. Get you guys closing out the week strong. Keep you guys motivated. I was gonna talk a little bit about kind of your daily tasks and stuff you need to get done. But before I get into that, I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about this podcast. I've been getting some really good feedback. And I've put a lot of time into this. I've put over, 14, 15 months into this podcast, trying to get it to where, I felt it was at a point where I could, release it out to the world and, start sharing it. I mean, there was people following me before and people interested in it, but, I'm really promoting it now. I'm really trying to put it out there. And I'm doing, shorter podcasts. I'm doing these little, 3-minute to 12-minute, maybe 15-minute, podcasts. The Monday morning motivation ones are going to be really short. These ones that we're doing on Thursday are going to be a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth, but some days they might not be. I might not have the time, I still run a couple businesses. I'm still a very busy person. And eventually we'll get to the point where I can sit down and, we'll bang out a 30-minute episode, and that'll be great. That'll be kick-ass. Those are on my, my daily tasks that I need to get done. So, yeah, that's just a little bit of background about this. I had a couple people ask me if I was going to be doing longer episodes, and eventually we will, but right now we're just, we're keeping the ball rolling. I'm still getting comfortable with recording and figuring out the recording process and how everything works. So, you guys are growing right along with me, and you guys are, witnessing this podcast, from the very startup. If you guys followed me on Podbean before, or if you guys followed me on YouTube, or if you followed me on Anchor, you would have saw the progression of where I started, where it completely, I felt sucked, but I knew I was better. I knew I was going to get better, and I knew, I see the vision. I know where I'm going. I know where this podcast is going to be in the next year, and it kicks ass. When I vision of where I'm headed with it and the content that I'm going to be able to put out and the people that I'm going to be able to bring on this podcast so you can hear their stories, man, it makes me super excited and keeps me motivated, keeps me pumped, and makes me, continue doing this. I wasn't going to record this episode yet this morning because I am kind of behind the 8 ball. I got to get going here in 15 minutes to start my day, but I woke up super early this morning, worked on a couple different of my websites, had to change a few things, scheduled a new class coming up in April that we're going to be teaching, and my day just started pumped. So talking about that, what this episode is going to be about is your daily tasks. The night before, right before you are laying down and going to sleep, put it on paper. You can put it on, your phone, on a to-do list, or your notes, or your daily tasks, but I really like putting pencil to paper. It lets you write it out. There's a little more, meaning to it when you're actually putting it on paper. Write a few things down that you need to get done, and not like take a shower in the morning or brush your teeth or, shit that you have to do daily does not count as your daily task, the stuff you need to get done. Choose some of that hard stuff. If you need to make an uncomfortable phone call, if you need to have a conversation with your loved one, if you need to, schedule a time to sit down with your boss and talk to your boss about how you feel like you've been performing, you haven't had a review, you feel like you deserve a raise, and you can't just be like, oh, I deserve a raise. There's got to be a reason you feel like you deserve a raise. Schedule that meeting. If you have employees that aren't holding up, their end of their deal that you feel like they should, maybe they don't know they need to hold that end of it up. And you need to sit down with them and have that conversation. Getting your taxes ready, stay on top of that. When I had my construction business, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, kind of in that window, I got my contractor's license. I went right out into the world, and I was good at construction. I built up, a successful business. I made really good money. I employed a few people, fed their families as well. But one thing I did not learn was how to do my taxes. In my first 3 years in business, I struggled with taxes. My first 2 years, I didn't even pay taxes. I didn't know how, didn't know where to start. I was young, I was naive. I didn't take the time to reach out and learn. And I paid for that. I've spent probably the last 6 years, correcting those mistakes that I made, 15, 12 years ago with my taxes and with the penalties and late fees and talking to the IRS and dealing with a lawyer to take care of that stuff. It's still in the works, but I have matured enough and I have grown enough to figure out what I did wrong. I know what I need to do to correct it, and I'm taking care of that. That's not one of my daily tasks now, but it was one of my daily tasks back then. Like, okay, you have to get a hold of a lawyer, you have to get a hold of a tax person, you need to take care of that stuff in your past. Didn't want to, kind of made me feel like a failure, made me feel like I didn't succeed as a business. Yeah, my business looked good on paper, looked good to other people, we were kicking ass doing awesome remodels, but on the back end, business wise back then, I didn't know what I was doing. Fast forward 12 years, it's still a learning process. I'm still learning every day. There's better ways to do stuff. There's more efficient ways to do stuff. And, I can better myself and correct those things and keep those things moving forward by writing down my daily tasks, knocking things out of the way that I need to get done. So, yeah, man, I got to get going on the ball, or on my day. Stay on the ball. Write down, your to-do list. Write down your daily tasks. Get yourself 3 to 6 things, 5 things. Put them on paper. Make them happen. Check them off when you're done. Give yourself a W at the end. Circle, when you're done with all those. If you don't finish all those, put an L on the day, man. You lost that day. You're not going to win every day, but those W's will stack up and build up and move on, and it'll get easier. But take those tasks that you don't accomplish in the day and move them over to the next day. Don't add a whole bunch of new ones until you finish what you've already started or already put pen to paper and committed to. Bang those out, man. Move forward. Kick ass. I hope everyone has a good day. Big T. Hey, for you guys that want to check out, I had an email about the website. The website is updated. New podcaster on there. The website is www.bigttalks.com. You can also find us on Spreaker. You can find us on YouTube. Big T Talks. You can find us on iTunes. The whole works, man. Facebook, Instagram. It's all Big T Talks. Give it a follow. Share it if you could. Appreciate it, man. This is just the beginning. Episode 3. We out. Have a good day. Peace.